Hey everyone, I am here with an important topic tonight. I want to talk about the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the if onlys, if only I had, I should have done, and then talk about forgiveness, forgiving yourself, okay? So if you are here watching live, let me know in the comments. If you are watching on replay, type hashtag replay and let me know where you are, because I love to know where people are in the world. So again, we're talking about the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the if only I had, oh, I wish I had, and forgiving yourself, because it's common to go back and look at every choice you've made and kind of rip it apart, to fault everything you've done, because now you are here in this situation that you don't want to be in. You're childless and it's not by choice. So hi, for those of you joining, let me know where you are and in the comments, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, so we're going to continue with this, talking about, like, it's so common. I hear it all the time, and frankly, it's something I did and still catch myself doing it, and I have to work on that. I coach myself through that, and I work on it with my own coach to get out of that cycle where it's like, oh, I should have done this, and I wish I had done that, and why didn't I do that? And then blame yourself for every choice you have made. You're from New Jersey. How are you doing with the air? I know it's bad in New York. I'm in Colorado, so the air here right now is fine. We got the smoke a few weeks ago. But I hope you're not having any breathing problems. I hope it's not really affecting you in New Jersey like it is in New York. Okay, back to the woulda, coulda, shouldas and finding a way to forgive yourself. So like I said, we often do this, every decision we made that led us now to this situation that we don't want to be in. We're childless and it's not where we wanted to be. And you think everything you decided to do was wrong, but was it? If you had done something different, would it have turned out differently? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it would have turned out differently, but you would have ended up in a situation where you're feeling even worse. Maybe it would have been an even worse outcome. The truth is that you and we made the best decisions we could with the situations at the time. Maybe doing something different would have gotten us what we wanted, and maybe not. Probably not. The reason I say probably not is because there's a reason why we made the decisions that we made. Every choice you've made, every action you've taken was the best one you could make at the time. Hold on, give me just a second here. I want to say hi to a couple people and let me know where you are in the world, and hopefully you are not being affected by the smoke or the fires if you are in Canada. All right, so getting back to this, it's really easy to do the what ifs, to blame ourselves. But what does that really get you? It really doesn't get you anything but more pain. But it's hard to get away from the blame, even if we don't impose it on ourselves, because there's always someone at the ready to judge and find fault, right? You'll hear someone tell you, you gave up. You didn't try enough. There was more you could be done. You should have done X, Y, and Z instead of doing A, B, and C, whatever it is. But the truth is, no one else is in your shoes. No one knows what is going on with you, with your personal situation, with your health, your well-being, your emotional and physical well-being, with your relationships. And I don't just mean the relationship you may have if you have a significant other, but your relationships with others, with your families, friends, community. that all factors in to the decisions that we make for everything every day. And it factored in, most likely, it all factored into your decisions in terms of trying to have a baby. Your finances, okay? If you wanted to go through IVF but couldn't, or you did, and IVF and any fertility treatment takes a huge toll on you physically, emotionally, financially. And so those are all things that have to be taken into consideration, and no one else is in your particular circumstances. The problem is all of that gets internalized. Even if you were not already questioning yourself, you probably have had others making comments, asking you questions, saying things like you gave up, you didn't do enough, and then the next thing is we internalize that. And then if you're already questioning yourself and doing the woulda, coulda, shouldas, why didn't I do this? When you add in what you're internalizing from others, that's just a huge, huge pile of pain. I mean, that's really what it is. And it doesn't benefit you. And then some of you are also blaming your own body. What's wrong with me that I couldn't get pregnant? You're blaming your own mind because of the decisions you've made, or you're second guessing them and you're blaming your body. Why couldn't I get pregnant? What's wrong with me? I shouldn't have eaten this. I should have done this instead. I didn't take enough of those supplements. But that doesn't get you anywhere. The if-onlys, the woulda, coulda, shouldas are natural, but they add a lot of pain. And they steal from the joy you could be having in the present. Now, this is not about, just think positively. This is not about that toxic positivity. Anyone who has, read anything I write or watched me knows I'm very anti-toxic positivity. But we want to get to a place where you can find the joy in your life, embrace that joy, and be able to carry the pain of your childlessness with you. And that is possible. This is not about, just force positivity, force yourself to think positively. But when you are focused on the if-onlys, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, it doesn't allow for any joy to come in. So, what do you do about this? Well, let's talk about forgiveness. So forgiveness is usually defined as letting go of anger and resentment that you feel towards somebody else who you think has done you wrong. But in this case, you're thinking this about yourself, that you've done you wrong with your decisions, whatever decisions you made in your life that brought you to this place of being childless. Or you think your body, you've done something to your body that was wrong and it has wronged you in return. I mean, these are things that I hear all the time from women. So in this case, we're talking about not forgiving others for the hurtful comments that they make, the inappropriate questions they ask. It's working on forgiving yourself. And the reality is, it's often harder to forgive yourself than it is to forgive others. I mean, that really is the reality. But there's so much benefit to self-forgiveness. It benefits you there's studies showing this, that it improves your well-being, both emotional well-being, physical well-being. It brings a more positive mindset. Again, this isn't about force yourself to think positive, but it gives you in general a more positive mindset, which then leads to feeling more positive. And it improves relationships. Again, not just with if you have a significant other, but it improves relationships with all of your relationships, family, friends, coworkers, community. Being less forgiving of yourself is actually tied to more stress. So lack of self-forgiveness causes suffering. You don't need any more. You've already felt the suffering of being childless, not by choice. You don't need to add to that. Sorry, I thought I put this on Do Not Disturb, and I'm getting texts. All right, so let me look at my notes. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, so what you start with is working through the underlying emotions that are underlying the lack of forgiveness, because that's key. If you don't, your brain is going to continue to let you beat yourself up. That's what it does. That's what our brains do. So you have to first address the thoughts that are behind the pain, in order to forgive yourself. And that takes work. It takes work. But the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the if-onlys, they really suck. So how you work on this is first, when your brain goes down this road, when you've got the woulda, coulda, shouldas, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. I wish I hadn't done, this. Acknowledge them. Don't push them away. Don't pretend they're not there. Sit with them. Acknowledge them. And then, because if you don't, they're not going to go away. Your brain is going to keep them there. They're going to be there underlying everything you do, and that pain is going to stay, and you're going to be stuck. So when you start thinking these thoughts, sit with them, acknowledge them, and write them down. Getting them on paper helps you to take them out of your brain and put them somewhere else and share them in a way with another spot. You don't get rid of them totally, but it's a way of diminishing them. So write them down. Just write. Don't think, don't judge them, but set a time limit for yourself so that you don't get mired down in them and stuck in the mud with them. Give yourself the chance to get them out, but also set a time limit so that you are not stuck with them. Now, look at those thoughts that you've written down. And I want you to pretend this was a friend who was saying these things to you, who wrote all of this. And what I want you to do is respond to her as a supportive friend. So you are going to be talking to yourself the way you want a supportive friend to talk to you. Look at those thoughts. Tell your friend, you, why they're wrong. Remind her, your friend, you, why you made the decisions you did, why you decided if you were going through IVF, why did you stop? Why was it? In what way was that better for you? If you decided you were waiting for the right person, you didn't want to be a single mom, write down your situation or tell yourself, your friend, why it was best for you not to try to do this alone. Talk to yourself as you would to a friend. Give yourself the support that you would give a friend and that you need. And then I want you to look at those thoughts and ask yourself how they're serving you. They're not. They're painful thoughts. How can you change them? How can you look at this and recognize that the decisions you made were the right ones for you at the time? And probably still the right decisions, even though you're in a situation that you didn't want to be in. You're childless, not by choice. Talk to yourself like you would a friend, and then look at those and see how those are not serving you. And then change your thoughts around. And that is what we work on in coaching, is acknowledging your thoughts and how they are affecting you, and how, if you want to change your thoughts to help you feel better. So if you have any questions, I see people are here, but I don't see any questions, but if you're, feel free to send me messages with questions. And I hope this was helpful, because I know a lot of you, myself included, need forgiveness. We need to forgive ourselves for the things that we did that were right for us, but we're now using against ourselves to blame ourselves. And we don't deserve that blame. So let me know in the comments what you think, or again, if you have questions, or again, send me a message. And for those of you who are watching this on replay, please type #replay. For anyone who is affected by the fires, I'm so sorry. I hope you are staying safe. For anybody in New York or anywhere else who's affected by the smoke from these fires, also please stay safe. And again, let me know what you're thinking in the comments, and I will be back here next week. Also, let me know, again, in the comments or in messages, what topics you'd like me to talk about, or what guests you'd like me to have on. All right, that's it for tonight, and I will see you next week. Bye.